we go. Year-to-date sales totals for us as a group. How does 83 million sound so far this year?
Wow. That's pretty gnarly.
So we're at 83 million so far this year. We're at 188 transactions year to date. We're projecting to do 120 million in gross home sales for 2020. Currently, we're sitting in the top 4% of Denver offices, which puts us at 129 out of 3,483 offices.
Wow.
Not too shabby, huh?
No, it's pretty good.
That's great. I mean, for we're only 2 years in. I think what was interesting, if we look, we had the old Corona start in March. We had our best month was March, 29 transactions year to date, and then obviously April and May were adversely affected. But then obviously we shot back in June with 9 million, and then July came up with our best month, almost 18 million just in July alone. You think this is reflective to what the market saw?
I'm not sure what's going on.
That's exactly it. That's what we're here to talk about. So I think as far as it goes for us, I mean, I think we definitely saw the impact, through April, May, huge. I mean, May was a huge drop for us. It was, it was almost low as our January, February. When we did the little presentation back in April, we kind of checked in on kind of what we thought Corona was going to do and what we thought that the change was going to be, what the impact was going to be. I think the question is how's everybody feeling about the market right now? How does it feel like out there, Akila?
I have about 9 clients right now that I'm showing, and there's no homes out there. And
Right.
The ones that pop up, they go under contract like that day.
Right. So I guess what I heard you say is maybe a decrease in inventory, but maybe a similar level of traffic on the buy side.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's still, I mean, if I was to describe it, I'm kind of the same boat. The clients my listings are overpriced, like always, for some reason. But I think on my buy sides, we're getting really competitive situations to where we're not actually winning them, I'm showing clients right now at 700 in Park Hill, and we get beat out each time. So it's still definitely rough and competitive for us. I guess what else are we experiencing? What else do we see?
Sorry.
What was
I
that?
have a client that's looking in Brighton, and there's no homes over there.
Right.
There's nothing.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I think what I was anticipating was more people jumping onto the sale wagon. Oh shoot, we have to sell now. Is this the top of the market? Is it going to get worse? So I was anticipating seeing an increase in the number of homes available. Kind of giving us less of a listing market, less of a seller's market, and more of that buyer's market. How do we feel? Is it balancing out? Is it going to seller's market, buyer's market, staying the same?
I would say it's definitely a seller's market. And I think a lot of those sellers, they don't want to sell their house because they don't know where to go. Unless they're moving out of state or they have somewhere to stay.
Right.
That's the fear.
Right. Where do I go if I do sell? Right. Here was something that we talked about, earlier in the year around April. We kind of visited this. What's the mindset of today, and how are people feeling? Seller fears, we had talked about property access, number of buyers, price drops, buyer terminations. Is this something that we're still experiencing on the seller side?
I don't believe so. I don't think those are fears. I think sellers are getting greedier and
yeah.
I think they are, and they know that they can, to where they have multiple offers and multiple showings, to where they don't want to do anything come to inspection and highest and best, which has always been the case.
I guess, what does everybody think about buyer terminations? Have we seen an increase or felt an increase in that?
I haven't seen it.
I guess Janelle, you see it more regularly on the transaction side. Are we seeing more terminations than normal?
No,
No,
not at all.
I don't think so.
Nope,
You
I
know,
don't think so either.
Here's the buyer's fears we were kind of discussing and anticipating was employment, economy, home values, exposure to COVID, increase in interest rates. Are we experiencing any of that? Has anybody noticed an unemployment or employment challenge? I don't think I have.
I have one client.
You know, I think what I noticed was a lot of the people that struggled before struggle now and still may not be qualifiable, but everybody who was more than qualified and wasn't struggling still isn't struggling. You know, so I don't think the employment is really affected much at all.
Well, plus if I have a client, she's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I asked her how much is she paying for rent. It was $1,600. I'm like, okay, well, your mortgage is going to be $2,000 or $2,100. So you're not going to be able to afford the $1,600 either if you lose your job. So
one half dozen the other, right? You're not going to pay anything. Agent fears, buyer reluctance, seller cancellation, exposure, work limitations. Are we feeling any of this? The biggest one right now for me was the work limitations. Do we have work limitations? Open houses are allowed now.
Yeah. Not as much as we did.
You know, and I think it's getting more laxed and laxed as we go, but I think it's also, specifically with my sellers, my sellers didn't really have any restrictions. Let people in. We want to sell the house. I think what we're experiencing is people who want to buy and people who want to sell, and they're not holding back. They're moving forward with that decision. Does it seem like it's as scary as it felt maybe in March and April?
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
It's calmed down.
Definitely. I think it's definitely calmed down. I think we got through the worst of it. The worst of it was the April-May experience, and I think what everybody realized in June, even with my clients, was if we're going to do this, we got to do it. I think the biggest thing I saw shifting was my people who wanted to go up in purchase price is less interested in increasing their purchase price or increasing their monthly payments, and maybe just transitioning equity into a similar monthly payment. Did that make sense? Not wanting to increase their payments, but maybe even transition and keep the payment balanced. Britt, in the last couple of months, has helped a lot of people. Matt Portolano is a good example. He sold his house in Aurora. I think they made $100-something thousand in equity, rolled it into a half-acre property in Castle Rock at the same monthly payment that they had on their Aurora house. But that's because they rolled the $100,000 of equity in. I think people are definitely getting smart and taking advantage of the transition. Here's what I guess I was anticipating when we talked about this in April. I said possible impact. I think it's what we were going to see, kind of a balancing in the market, not necessarily to a buyer's market, but maybe to a not so aggressive seller's market. I thought we would see additional days on market, and then a leveling of home prices, not necessarily a depreciation of home prices, but a leveling of home prices, meaning it's not going up and it's not going down. I guess, what do we think? Is that kind of what
it's gone up.
Prices?
Yeah.
I think we all know that prices have gone up.
A lot.
A lot. Additional days on market. Are we seeing additional days on market?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, I think we're not really seeing an increase in days on market. And as far as it goes, the balancing, we talked about it. How aggressive is it still for our buyers? Pretty aggressive.
More aggressive.
Maybe even more aggressive, right? So I think any of those threes we actually didn't see as heavy of an impact as I was anticipating. Number of homes sold in 2020, how does it look? When we had went over this in April, this is kind of the stats that I had pulled from April. Number of homes sold in Denver, 2019 was 72,838. We saw a 13% drop in 2009 because of the Great Recession. We had discussed if we saw a 13% drop in 2020, we would still sell 61,000 homes. Do you think that we're at or above or on trend for this decrease? Do you think we'll see a 13% loss in this year?
It should be above, right?
Well, let's hope it's above. What I did was I actually pulled the stats, number of homes sold in 2020. Let's look at January. We were 114, 109, 106% to the previous year, number of homes sold. April and May was a huge decrease in our own sales volume. It was a 77% to last year, 60% to last year. What happened in our business in June? It skyrocketed, and July even more so, which was experienced across the whole board. So Denver sales for July was 124% increase over last year. Last year we sold 7,200 homes. This year we're at 9,000 homes that month. If I was to guess or anticipate, you know, we're at an average of 101% increase as an average. This is what we might expect to see in September, October, November. We should exceed last year's sales still by 103%. So are we going to see that same impact that we did from the Great Recession? No, not even close. We'll still see an increase, I think. I think we'll be at least 3% above. How should it make, I guess, how should it make our sellers feel? How should it make our buyers feel? Good morning, Mary.
Hello. They should feel scared.
Which one?
The buyers.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's obviously still super competitive market. You know, I think when we talked about you know the scarcity part, you know, at the beginning when we didn't know what was going to happen, the reason I felt more comfortable about it was I at least knew there was going to be 61,000 homes sold within this year. Am I going to be a part of selling one of the 61,000? For sure. So we will sell houses unavoidably, but what we knew would change was the prices, days on market, and the other elements. If we look at actually what's happening, I mean, 124% over last year, this is what our buyers are experiencing. Our buyers are experiencing a super hot market for sellers still. This only kind of reiterates it.
I think June and July will maybe make it up for April and May.
Almost,
You know what I'm saying?
almost, right. I mean, we lost 1,500 here. We lost 3,000, so we're at 4,400. I mean, we made up almost 3,500 here. So I mean, we almost balanced out because of these 2 months. Who knows what September holds? Seasonality. When do we usually see a slowdown in our market? What month? What summer month?
Probably August.
Just
I think traditionally and historically for me, the 4th of July weekend is when we usually see a turn down.
You wouldn't know it by that.
Well, and even if we looked at these numbers here, it's, you know, this June, July, August are real similar.
Yeah.
I usually felt like the July 4th weekend was that weekend that everybody went out of town, and then after they got back, it was kind of back to school time, get ready for the next semester. You know, everybody kind of dug in. I think what changed is everybody didn't have summer vacations this year. You know, everybody wasn't out traveling and doing things. They were at home thinking about their home. Do we want to be stuck in this house anymore? Nope. We're getting that other house we wanted. I think this makes me feel good. I think we will exceed last year's sales by at least 3%. So I think this is a great number.
I'm
Is this
excited
good?
to see what happens in November.
Is this good news for our sellers?
Yeah.
I think it's great news. All right. Average home price and days on market. When we had talked earlier, kind of during the April period, as far as it goes for Denver home prices, 474 was the average. 474 for 2019 with days on market around 34 days on market. Do you think we're above or below the average home price?
up.
I think we all know that one. We're actually up. August was 534,000 against 474. Have we seen an increase? Definitely. We haven't seen a decrease in home prices. The lowest month we had was in May again, where it dropped. Otherwise, we had an increase, drop in April and May, like we anticipated. We saw the same thing in our business, but then kicked it back up in June, exceeded it even more so in July, and then just running strong through August. And I'm going to guess through the rest of the year, we're going to continue to see this. Does anybody know what we experienced in Denver for the first time?
More people moving out and moving in.
Nope. Guess again.
I wish.
I wish. Who said that? Janelle. In Denver, we experienced the first month where average or median home prices exceeded 600,000.
Wow. That's crazy.
So now we've actually exceeded 600,000 within the Denver area. We've never done that before. Even last year, we were at the high fours,
you.
just under 5.
Have a great day.
You too.
Coda, be gentle.
I think if we were to anticipate anything, what could we anticipate on the home prices?
It's still gonna go up.
So we're gonna go up. We had talked about days on market. 2019 average days on market was 34. Year before that, 29, 29, 30, 28, 36. As far as it goes for our days on market, what are we seeing?
That's smoking.
Spoken, right?
That's smoking. Used to be, I mean, you'd be happy 55 to 60.
Well, we now, I mean, we've reduced, I mean, January, February, 51, 42, March and April being super difficult. April was still only 26 days on market.
Jeez.
Right? We had a decrease in buyers and a decrease in sellers, but the ones that were buying and selling were still just as aggressive as they ever were before. May was a tough month for everybody, and we still saw only 30 days. June, July kicked up, and we're sitting trending at less than 28 days on market. Will we see a decrease in days on market from 2019? I think so. I think days on market is decreasing for us as well as prices are increasing. Is this good news?
I think that's directly.
What was that, Bill?
I think that's directly proportionate to the number of properties that are on the market. Will definitely influence their bottom line.
There you go.
Influence days on the market.
So here leads to, I guess, our next question though is the balancing of that market. You know, what does that look like? Historic count of active listings. If we looked at this, I think this is probably the biggest contributor. I think that's what you're saying, Bill, is it's directly proportionate. If we looked at 2019, April, May, we had 11,000, 13,000 homes. We were almost right on par with that, 11,618. 13,000, we had 11,900 this year. What happened in June and July? What happened in August to last year?
Lots less on the market.
A lot less on the market. Is that driving our days on market, and is that driving still it being a seller's market?
100%.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we didn't get an increase in buyers. We're seeing a decrease in
Listings.
sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Why are our sellers not selling?
They're scared.
Of?
They don't think that they're going to find a house to go into.
I think that they believe they're at the top with theirs and also buying at the top of the next one.
Right.
So if you're on the fence with wanting to transition to a house, you kind of are finding yourself falling back into your home and falling back into your payment and not dreaming of that next level house, I believe. I think we're seeing that transition or that change in inventory because people don't want to increase their home, their monthly payments.
Yeah.
Before we had a lot of people who were move-up buyers. We had a smaller house, we want a bigger one. I don't think that's happening. I think people have an okay house, and if they transition, they're transitioning to a similar monthly payment, but whatever that looks like for them, they're comfortable with that. I don't think people are moving up quite as much as they used to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a huge decrease, almost half the volume August and September. August is almost half the volume. We could have half the number of buyers and still see the exact same market that we had before. What does this mean for our sellers?
Racking in more money.
You know, they're needed. If you're thinking about selling your house, this is actually a great time because you're needed on the market. If you're needed on the market, it's no wonder we're experiencing 28 days on the market. The second you pop up, you're gone. What does this mean for our buyers? What do you think that they have to, what does September hold for them this month? Half the choices.
Save.
Well, I think they have half the choices that they had last year. Instead of you going to look at 6 houses this weekend, you've only got 3. You know, each week, you know, my clients right now, we're watching the, you know, every week that new listings come up, we're going to see them immediately, so we're not missing them. You know, we get half the chances that we were experiencing last year. How does this impact days on market or average sales price?
You snooze, you lose, and prices will go up.
Yep, you snooze, you lose, and supply and demand is the name of the game. There's no supply and the same demand. We're just going to see the increase of sales prices. Is this good news for our sellers? Is this stuff we should be sharing with them?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think this is.
I don't wonder about appraisals, so with things going up at the rate that they are.
Well, are we experiencing anything with appraisals or a challenge with appraisals? I had one. So I've seen more lately than I've ever seen before. And I think if I was to guess, I would guess that the appraisers are being a lot more cautious about the valuations than they were traditionally in the past, but they're anticipating a reduction in the market and kind of playing that into their valuations. I think when we had such a steady market and a steady increase, it was easy for them to put the value there because it was trending. Right now we had an unknown trend, and I don't think that they're accurately, you know, staying up to date with it. I don't think that they're reviewing the same stats that we're looking at right now.
They've also been heavily scrutinized by the feds because they don't want to see them just going in and saying, yeah, it works because there's somebody willing to pay that money for the property.
Well, and at the end of the day, remember, we're just chasing market value anyway. It's a trending number, down or up. It happens we have such low inventory, our trend's heavy on an increase.
Yep.
So I think, you know, the reason Brittany and I have been seeing a little bit more challenges in our appraisals is because of an appraisal, you know, a little trepidation. You know, what is the actual market doing and where is it heading? I don't think any of us knew until we started looking at it, but we haven't been able to because it's only been a couple months. So are we in a buyer's market or seller's market still?
Oh, sellers.
Sellers. I think sellers for sure.
What's the average increase in sales price from January through now? Do you have that? Was that there and I didn't see it?
As far as just our appreciation?
Yeah, 6-7%, you think?
You know, I'd have to pull it. I don't know if it would be quite that high. You know, I mean, it's got to be maybe even higher. I think double digit. I think they were saying 10% appreciation still across Denver. That's how we got above the 600.
Wow, that's good.
So here's the stats I got just this morning from Chicago Title. This week, the median list price in Denver is $695. Our median or average sales price in Denver is still over $600. Chicago Title says home sales continue to outstrip supply, and the market action index has been moving higher for several weeks. This is a seller's market to watch for upward pricing pressure in the near future if the trend continues. Do we believe the trend will continue? I believe so. You know, I mean, these are a lot of the stats that we're experiencing right now. Median list price, 695. Days on market for Denver, 61. Price decreased. What's price decreased? 42%.
Price reductions.
Totally. Are we still seeing a lot of price reductions? 42% of them in Denver.
Lot.
All right. But that's also because we weren't scooped up as fast as the neighbor's house was. That's why we still have 28 days on market instead of the 3 days on market. So 42% are seeing the price decrease. How do we have a 4% price increase?
People coming in over list price.
There you go. Well, and I think it's more back on markets. You know, didn't you just do one where you came back on above?
No, I was going to go back on.
I had my fix and flip with my investor friend, and we listed at 350. 350. We did go under contract, and then it fell out. And then we went and relisted again, and she's like, I think we should try 370. Oh, okay. We put it at 369, and we got it under contract still.
Cool.
Right. I'm glad I wasn't Debbie Downer be like, oh, you can't do that. I was like, okay, I'll try it. We did it and actually got it. So, you know, I think price increases are taking place when we start to see, or we're also seeing the momentum. If we end up with 7 offers and they all went over list price, when we relist, let's say we started at 350, but everything got pushed to 360, 370, why would we not relist at the 360, 370 since that's where it got pushed? And I think that's why
let the appraisal drive it.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing the price increases is because of the actual, you know, the buyer.
Properties go back on the market.
Yeah, I think you know that them going under contract and getting those multiple offers above ask is now inducing them to go back on the market above ask. Anybody see the least expensive house in Denver for 45? I didn't.
Is that land?
It had to have been. The most expensive is almost 11 million.
Is that a parking spot?
Right.
right. It was a carport
Yeah.
at Heather Gardens. I guess as far as it goes for our market, where's it heading?
Up.
I think we're headed forward. I think we're moving on up. I think we should feel a lot more comfortable and confident with our clients when we're speaking to it. Can we prepare our buyers? And what do we do? What do we do to prepare our buyers right now?
Start talking about a 50-year mortgage.
50-year. 15 or 50?
50.
I'll take a 50. I'd like that payment. You know, I think these stats help us support our buyers when they think, oh, you know, now's the time I'm going to get a deal. Are we going to get deals now?
No.
I don't think so. I think you're going to be lucky to get at the house you want, just to be honest.
Yeah.
So we have a decrease in inventory for the month of July almost by half. I mean, if we have half the inventory we're used to looking at, you can anticipate not only having half the inventory to look at, and I said this last weekend with my people. I said, if there's a house that you like, everybody else who's out here this weekend is also going to like this house as well. They didn't believe me. And then they tried to wake up the next day and say, well, we want that house now. I'm sorry, it's already gone. I already told you that.
You got to create urgency with these guys, or give them time to learn what's going on with the market, and they can create it on their own.
And that's exactly it. You know, us pushing or steering or pushing them into purchase prices just never works. It doesn't help them. And not only that, it kind of puts a little tension on our relationship too. It feels like you're pushy, Jared. I'm not. I'm actually realistic. I'm the one experiencing this. So I like using the numbers, the stats, and the data to help support it. Hey, just a heads up, we actually have a decrease of almost 50% in inventory, and the days on market is decreasing. Our prices are increasing because of the lack of inventory. Buyers haven't stopped and buyers haven't dropped, but our listings have. What does this mean for our sellers? Overall, big picture, what can we share with our sellers?
You're in the driver's seat.
If you pick the right price. What
Yeah,
I'm
providing there's a lot of, obsolescence with respect to maintenance of the property.
Right. I think picking price is still imperative. You can overprice a property 100%. I do it all the time. I love it. Just kidding. I usually ask my sellers, what do you think we should get? Shit, you're not gonna get it, but I'll try. I think with my sellers, I'm using this to help remind them we are seeing the decrease in inventory, but I think it's less of a highlighted item for me as opposed to actually sharing the homes that are going under contract and being sold in the last 30 days is more of an important stat than anything. Active properties really don't help us show what's happening on the market because the under contract show. If we have one that's under contract and it took 30 days to get there, but they had 2 price reductions, it's pretty reflective of what the true price should have been. If we have one that was under contract in 3 days, we can kind of anticipate what it should be because it was under contract so fast. I think using the under contracts and solds right now and recent solds, 30 days, 60 days, no more, is really where I'm a little bit more realistic with my sellers. Is there anything anybody's doing specifically with their sellers? Can we underprice a property still? Can we underprice a property at all?
Yes.
We can, but we shouldn't.
Well, I don't think we can if we know the value. If I believe
Yeah.
if I believe it's worth 315, do I list at 315 or do I list at 300?
300 would be ideal.
I say 300. But I also, when I start making phone calls or I start getting agent interest, I say things like, hey, just a heads up, we're anticipating an appraised value and a purchase price around 315, come in highest and best and strong. And that's how I usually push it. I present the value up front. I market at a good price, an attractive price. Why would I pick 300 over 315 for a marketing price?
Attract more buyers.
Totally. Whose purchase limit is up to 315? Anybody's? No. People are capped at 300. Do we want the 300s thinking they can buy it? Yes. Do we want 325s wanting to buy it? Definitely. So I think I like being strategic with my price marketing, my actual price to try and strategically pull in different price points, to push that sales price. I think pricing's super imperative. Anybody have any thoughts? Anything that they've kind of? I mean, are we as scared as we thought we might be earlier in the year?
Well, I mean, Jared, what are you telling your clients if they're asking you what do you anticipate to happen in the next 6 months to a year? I mean,
I think we're gonna anticipate more of the same thing. We're gonna have less serious sellers and the same number of serious buyers. I think the people who, our sellers are a little bit more cautious. I mean, do I need to roll the equity or do I need to do a cash out refi? I mean, I think that people are going to be a little nest egging, I think is what I might anticipate. But I don't think our buyers are going to stop. I mean, our buyers still need to buy. It also is being driven by what? And Bill, you kind of highlighted what's driving our buyers market. You said the reverse of what I believe is happening. You said more people are leaving as opposed to coming, or do we believe more people are coming than leaving?
Probably more people coming.
Yeah, and that's driving our.
Yeah, that's got to be.
That's driving our market. Most of my buyers are all coming into town, and a lot of my transition buyers aren't transitioning, but we're playing it very slowly and softly. So I'm not seeing a decrease in my buyer traffic because they have to buy. They just got here. They got to find a home. I'm showing my clients that are at 700 in Park Hill. They're like, how is this possible? But they're coming from Texas. Like, how are we buying a 1,000 square foot house for $700,000? And I was like, location, location, location. So I think we're going to see definitely a steady decrease in the inventory that we have on until we get into next competing against this year, meaning April, May, June, and July of next year. We might start seeing a balance out of that inventory levels. But I think we're going to see a decrease in inventory from last year until we get to April, May, June, and July of next year. Why do we have more buyers in the market now than we do historically during these seasonal times? I'm going to say this, I guess. I believe that we have more buyers. Why do we have more buyers than traditional?
Interest rate.
I think interest rates, good one. What else?
Influx of people.
Influx
Sure.
of people. It's not stopping.
Yeah.
What else?
People who have apartments and are trapped inside. I have clients right now that want space. They want a yard now that they're working from home.
Right.
I think the prices too. I mean, they're saying, hey, what are the prices going to be 3 months, 6 months, a year from now?
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are a lot of buyers aren't holding back. They're taking advantage of the interest rates and the opportunity that's still in front of us. I think buyers also think that we're seeing a decrease in home prices or a decrease in the market to where they're in a good place to be buying and don't anticipate that it's actually as strong as it is. Could that be a possibility? I guess, did this kind of help anybody feel a little bit more comfortable, confident talking to your buyers and sellers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. I think it's good news across the board. I think it makes us feel a little bit more, stable in our industry, stable in our market. Our market's not really shifting in the direction we didn't want it to, and that would be, shifting into a buyer's market. It's still very strong. Good morning, little Claire Bear. What are you eating?
So, Jared, you think just because of everything that's going on politically, economically, everything, right, that we're not going to have like an economic shift?
We won't know till next year.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot. I don't think so. I think if anything, by next year, when things start to settle again, it really will settle. I think nerves will settle. I think seller, that transition buyer will start taking place. We talked about it earlier in the year. What's the price point that's going to see the biggest decrease in appreciation? Or softening, or at least leveling of appreciation? What price point?
Million.
I think the $1 million homes, the luxury homes. And I think that by next year, when we start feeling a little bit more comfort, we're going to see a lot of those people now buying those $1 million homes that they were wanting to transition to, but waited for the last 6 months to a year. So I think what I hope to anticipate is a little bit more ease, a little bit more comfort level. COVID will be a little bit farther behind us. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it this winter. But I think, once we get through the election, I think everybody's going to settle back in. We've got another 4-year ride. We might as well settle into it. And I think that I expect us to see that. So I think that luxury home market is going to be the next opportunity for people to find good deals. Why do you think we'll find good deals in the luxury market?
I think the people are getting older and they're wanting to downscale.
Totally. And guess what? You have to fucking sell it. So I think what's going to happen is those luxury homes that have been wanting to sell, they're going to start selling and trying to get top dollar because they think it's going the opposite direction. So I think we're going to start seeing a luxury home market change more so than our average home price. Our average home price at the low volume, at the low price, 400 or 500s, is going to go up, and then the millions are going to come down. But
You don't think the interest rate going up after the election is going to have an impact?
Well, and I don't know if that'll actually take place, just because I think they want to. This is a national situation, not just Denver. Denver's in a good place, but is the nation in a good place for real estate? And I think the nation's driving the interest rates. We happen to be able to take advantage of it.
Right.
Right. So I don't actually anticipate them increasing, if I was just to guess.
Okay, I hope so.
Well, and they still want to drive people to buying and selling. It's just such a huge fuel for our economy, so it won't stop.
You're an optimist, Jared.
Die hard, have to be. Here's the thing, like it or not, no matter where this trends or where it goes, will we always have buyers or sellers? Yes.
Sure.
Yep.
course.
The only thing that's going to change is the price point, and sometimes I think our competitive ability to be an agent. You know, a lot of my deals right now, I'm doing my listings at 1% for most of them, if I was to be honest.
I
You know, which I don't care. You know, I'll take 10, I'll take 5, I'll take 3. But I also, if I didn't get the listing, then I wasn't gonna have any of it.
Right.
You know?
And then you get the buy side at 2.5, 2.8 on 600,000. I mean, hello.
Right.
I love the fact that my sellers are willing to pay me 1 and pay somebody else 2.8. You know, Jared, we don't want to take it from them, but we want to do 2.8 to keep it fair. Fair? It's not fucking fair. Whatever. No, I think that you know, no matter what, the reason maybe I'm optimistic is I believe I'll be a part of the 70,000 homes that are being sold, no matter what the price is or no matter what my commission is. So I will be making money, but that's because I'm going to be participating. You know, I'm not worried about where home prices go because people have to buy and people have to sell. So I think that's what keeps me optimistic. I'm just willing and wanting to go out and find those who have to buy and have to sell. Anybody have any thoughts, comments, wishes, hopes?
Lots of everything. Lots of all those.
Brittany's taking me on vacation, she said.
Beautiful.
Someday. Where are you going?
I don't know. She won't take me on vacation.
Wait, didn't you guys just go somewhere? Weren't you?
No!
Oh.
We haven't gone anywhere this year. We went to Thailand last year. It was November of last year.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Our little puppy's still here.
Max.
Hey, little buddy.
Oh,
How are you? I gotta fly, guys.
Thanks, guys. We're all done for the day. If you guys need anything, let me know.
Thanks, Jared.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Make it great.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.